So I wanted to make a video and just show made a stage wash macro that I think is really cool that I'm using for Life.Church, their Austin campus. Um, so I'm just gonna kind of go through it. This is how I've been handling stage wash and making it easy for them to change their stage wash settings. Say if a singer's sick or something just changes from the time I've programmed versus the time that they're actually running it. And so it's just this weekend settings here. You hit this, and it asks you what settings do you want to set. It's got this nice pop-up window. Opener, worship, both. If you don't know Life Church, they kind of do a cover song at the beginning at some campuses. And so that's what you can set settings just for that, and then for the worship time, or do both. So if you hit both, I have singers. I have this actually built up to six. In the case of Austin right now, they're in a portable package, so the max that they could ever theoretically do is four with the stage rush they have. But it's all this is coded up to six. I've just removed the options, and it's really easy to just add it back. So they normally run three singers, so we'll do three. Um, and then, oh wait, hang on, let me do this again. So we'll do both. I forgot this is the opener, but yeah. So the opener they normally do one singer, and then how many worship songs? So worship songs this week was three, and then they had three singers, and then do the songs have a second lead? In this case, I'm going to say yes. This week they didn't, but I'll just use it for an example. So then it asks who leads worship for song one. So left to right. So like this week, there was a guy named Tim. He was in the position one area. And then this is a second lead question. So is there a second person that's will come in the song and lead, or are there two people leading at the same time? And who is it? In this case, this song, I'm going to just say no one. Who leads worship for song two? The song two was position three. And then is there a second lead? We'll give it to position two, even though it didn't apply. And then it asks the song to have an intro. Basically, someone talking at the beginning of the song. If someone's talking, it's going to turn the light on at the beginning. Uh, but if not, then it'll keep the stage blacked out. So in the case of song two, there was no intro for song two. And then song three was position two, no one. And then does song three have an intro? Yes. And then it's done. And so there's the settings set, and then you go to you can check your settings. So for both, I'll go through and just tell you the opener has one singer. Singer is center stage, and then worship has three singers. Song one lead is at position one. Song two lead is at position three. Song two has a second lead at position two. And song two does not have an intro. And then song three lead is at position two, and song three has an intro. And so it gives you all the information for that there that you can also check. The way this is triggered in service is I have there's of course walk-in looks, and then at the beginning of the opener, I have a macro opener that sets the settings accordingly. And then as it's fired, there is a macro lead, all things like that. If I go over to this page real quick, this is actually their normal show layout, but then I made an option for you to see kind of settings to change. And so these are all the control variables for the stage wash. So if it's just a lead going, if it's a second lead, a duet, or all off. And then these are the instant versions of those. So you need it instantly on of the settings, or blackout is just instantly off. So pretty simple there. Um, and then at the beginning of, so that's the opener. Then there's a begins now. They have kind of an intro thing if you haven't been to Life Church. So just a little jingle of welcome to Life Church. And so in that moment is when I set the settings for worship for how many singers. And then at the beginning of every song, there's a macro song. In this case, it's macro song one. and it sets the variables for song one of who is the lead, uh, and stuff like that. And then as you see, you go through, it's macros are just firing things. And at the end, there's a macro in song. And so what in song does is it checks for multiple things, but it will see, does the next song have a intro? If it doesn't have an intro, it's just going to shut everything off. But if it does have an intro, then it's going to check and see if the intro is the same person that's the lead. And so if it's the same person that's the lead, then it's going to just run the lead setting so that it just keeps them on instead of like turning all the lights off and then kind of turning them back on. It just kind of looks weird. And so it just does that. But if it's a different position, it'll go ahead and shut them all off. And then in the song macro, it'll turn that other position on. If that makes any sense. I found it looked cleaner and works. But one of the other things it does is for the final song. So this one here, what it actually does is it there's a song counter kind of going in these, and so the final thing it does, or one of the things it first checks is actually is it the last song? If it's the last song, then it actually runs the stage wash macro. And so go ahead, it just brings up the stage wash at that last part because that's kind of when the pastor is coming up. The canvas pastor is always coming up in that moment, and so it just auto fires that. And so yeah, uh, and it gets that information from when you put how many songs are there. That's where it gets that information from. Uh, and then the rest of this is time code off, and they're manually firing these cues. And these have, and then there's like brightness levels for things that you can just punch in a brightness and stuff. Right now, I'm actually running at 85 for the campus. I need to change that default setting. The final thing I'll point out, I actually have an auto fader on off. So if they want to actually manually run their faders, uh, I have it set to kind of turn it all off so they can manually run it. It will still set like singer stuff, like the amount of faders being applied. So, but it won't, but like these controls do not work at all versus if I turn it on and I fire it, you'll see that it fires down here. So that actually, yeah, that's pretty cool. Works great. And so that's how that all works. And then yeah, that's pretty much the macro. It's all running through some crazy macro stuff and some plugin stuff here. If you really want to get into it, reach out to me. And yeah, but this is just something I found to works well, makes it very easy on the campus level. The Austin campus really likes it. They usually don't have to mess with it too much because I still set the settings the week before. They just send me what they want. But yeah, it's been great. So, got anything else? Let me know.